Hello everyone, welcome to Media27. Today we'll be discussing how mainstream and new media can collaborate to strengthen South African journalism, and we'll be mostly focusing on the differences of both mediums, and we will elaborate more on the possible future of journalism in South Africa with these two medias, new media and traditional media, collaborating together. But you know, Musa, I'm not alone. I'm here with my partner, but she's going to introduce herself and tell us more how these mediums can collaborate together.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Claire and I'll be your host. So today we're gonna be discussing traditional and new media working together to strengthen journalism in South Africa. And by combining their resources and their expertise, obviously Leander, by their expertise we mean their expertise from traditional media like television, newspapers, radios, everything that was used in the past, and obviously those media, like we can identify it as traditional media, and we know that those people, like, okay, let me say, those journalists, they are experienced, they have established networks, and they are very credible. Like, you know, when you're listening to those radios or maybe watching it, you know that this is a credible source, right? And then now we are moving to new media, where now it's no longer the radios, it's no longer the newspapers, but now we're focusing more on the online social media. So yeah, obviously by their expertise, they're working with the digital skills, and what's really fun about it is that we have real-time engagement. So, but I feel like I'm combining these resources. They can reach more people and showcase diverse voices. Yeah. So also this collaboration, it can lead to more engaging, like storytelling, improved fact-checking, and increased accuracy. But then I feel like that one, and it's more on the traditional media side, because like now in in new media, okay, it is a good thing because we have real-time engagement, but then it can also result into better content and creating a greater transparency and accountability in the journalism landscape. So let's look at South Africa's media history. As you know that it has changed a lot over time, and from the pre-apartheid era to the post-apartheid era. And obviously our media landscape has undergone important transformations. So what's your intake in all of that? Do you mind telling us more about the pre-apartheid era and the post-apartheid era in terms of media?
As you mentioned, you know, I like it when I'm talking about media, more especially journalism, to elaborate more for people in the history of post-apartheid in South Africa and pre-apartheid, like more especially the history of media. The history of media has had a significant change. When we were looking at the pre-apartheid era, we found that South African media was more authoritarian control. The landscape was initially controlled by the colonial government and the apartheid government during that time. We also found out that most of the media publications had the dominant languages were the Dutch, English, and Afrikaans, which it's mostly marginalized the voices of Black South Africans, because the publication was state controlled. They even established in I forgot the year, but they established SABC, which is South African Broadcasting Corporation, which was used as a tool to promote ideologies that are pumped out by the government, to promote ideologies of how the government had to shape the Black people's mind in general. There were also acts that were suppressing South Africans a lot in the media field, but however, in 1884 and 1951, there were Black newspapers were established, which are the likes of Impoza Bansundu. These newspapers were there to act as a voice of South Africans. However, though they were
Black South Africans.
Yes, Black South Africans. Black South Africans. But we see that when we're looking at the history, though these publications were there to be the voice of South Africans. They were also pressed by the government a lot because the government wanted to change the content they're giving to people. It wanted to shape the content they're giving to people because the government was trying to ensure by all means which black people are that they are blindsided, like they don't see what's happening, they only take what's being given to them. They don't have freedom of expression. Yes. And mind you, these publications were also living in fear that some publications were taken to exile because of the content they were generating, which was against what the government is saying should be generated. That's how they were oppressed. But moving to post-apartheid, there was a significant change in 1994. The media field transformed from being authoritarian to libertarian control, whereby now people have freedom of expression, now freedom of speech. Now they say this is what we want to see on the news, and with this case incident happening, we want to say this with regards to it. So with the government of 1994, which was led by Nelson Mandela, he lifted and removed a lot of acts like Press Act of 1972 and the Broadcasting Act of 1976, which were oppressing black South Africans. He made sure that now those acts were removed, that now we are removing these acts since now South Africa is now a democratic country. Since it's a democratic country, even the media field has to be democratic. That's how like the media transformed lately. Like it had a significant transformation. We were even introduced to online publication, online outlets that now people can find news stories as soon as possible. Immediately when the story happens. We were even introduced to online publication, online outlets that now people can find news stories as soon as possible. Immediately when the story happens, there are people who are going to publish it. That's how significant the media field has changed. Can you please outline to us about the newspaper, printed media, broadcasting, how it has evolved into online news?
Okay, Brianda. Yes, newspaper, print media, and broadcasting media, it has evolved a lot. Yes, because now we have online news too. So the post-apartheid discourse of media transformation can be best understood in terms of the print media's history of ethnic presses. Like you mentioned that in the pre-apartheid era, the newspapers, news, like everything in media, it was in the Dutch language. So now we have the black press, we have the English press, we have the Afrikaans press. And what's most exciting is that now we have black editors, which is something that we never had in the Exactly. So we started witnessing many news broadcasted in Sesotho, in Setswana, in Beli, like many more languages, even in Sesotho. So even magazines and newspapers now, like you can buy a newspaper and then it is written in each and every language that you would love to read it in. So I feel like in terms of newspapers, print media, and broadcasting media, it has evolved a lot. But then now, in terms of the online news, do you think online news, it has brought new opportunities, or do you think in terms of new opportunities, do you think this online media, do you think it has brought about new opportunities?
Definitely. There are a lot of opportunities that has been opened. I don't want to go specifically on the news field, because on the news field we will sit here all day with me counting. Let me say for the new media in general. The new media has brought, like, now we have citizen journalists, which we didn't have back then. It's opened opportunities for people to voice out and for journalists to write stories for their niche audience, which is their small targeted audience for that specific content.
Yeah.
The new media has also made it easy for people all over the world to get news on time, to be updated about what's happening around the world. And it also gave the voices to the marginalized communities and the underpraised communities that now they can go to their online platforms like the likes of social media, specifically on social media. It could be Twitter, it could be Instagram, it could be Facebook, etc., and voice out that this is what's happening in our community, this is what we like, this is what we don't like. And with the citizen journalists, they made it very much easy for the communities which are underpraised to publish such information. It has also opened an opportunity to help to assist journalists to publish on time, to break news very, very fast and efficient compared to what happened back then, that you find out that newspapers will only publish their newspaper maybe after a week.
Yeah.
But now an incident happened and you find out that a journalist comes on who's updated with the new media, will update people as of what's happening, will break news for the people of what's happening during that time. But remember, though it is good, it does come with its own challenges. Do you mind perhaps to tell our audience what are those challenges, like for instance, fake news, etc.?
Okay. Yeah, so as you mentioned that new media, it has brought about changes, like now we have freedom of speech, we have freedom of expression, and now we also have the citizen journalist.
Yeah.
A problem now with the citizen journalist, do you remember, I feel like this can also bring challenges and chaos, since now everyone is a journalist. Yeah, and now spreading false news, it can spread very quickly. Yeah, it is easy because now I can also publish if I want to.
Yeah,
exactly. So I feel like that's the one challenge that we are going to face as certified journalists, I can say, because now, because now everyone can publish whatever that they want to say. Speaking about that, and speaking about the false information, remember we have the issue of the MK clowning Donald Trump to try to convince people, and then to convince people that the MK party is even supported by Donald Trump himself. Yeah. So obviously that ideology, obviously people thought that, okay, now because of we see the whole picture, now we can vote for the MK because why not? Because Donald Trump is also doing the same thing. So yeah, that is I feel like that is manipulated content and disinformation at the same time, because now people are manipulated through that content, and obviously that video is manipulated. So they were deliberate. I feel like the people that were manipulating that video, this is disinformation because they were deliberate with whatever that they were doing, because obviously they had intention that, you know what, we're going to try this video so that people can be on our side as the MK party. So I feel like now citizen journalists, it has brought about many challenges, as we can't differentiate between what is credible and what is real. So do you think citizen journalism should be closed as they publish misinformation and disinformation?
Not really. Remember that South Africa has recently been presented as a libertarian society. That now Black South Africans are being given a chance to express what their voices, to voice out. And with the citizen journalism, they are there to voice out for the voiceless. They are there to give people insights of what's happening, because most journalists who are in media publications, they have a content tailored to their specific audience. So we should also remember that Black South Africans came a long way to have this privilege of sharing their opinions, of voicing out, because during the apartheid they didn't have that opportunity. So an advice from me to our audience here is for them to be equipped with fact checking, geolocating, and they should mostly, like the most useful website is AfriCheck. AfriCheck is going to help you with checking whether the information you're about to share with your people, with your loved ones, with your family, Is it credible enough? Is it true? Is it not misinformation? So in this case, it shouldn't be closed, but people should equip themselves with the fact-checking skills.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so now Leander, in terms of traditional media, do you think that traditional media it needs to adapt to these changes of now having citizen journalists having news that are published right now? Like in terms of newspaper, I want to talk about in terms of newspaper specifically. Do you think traditional media needs to adapt to these changes?
Definitely, it does need to adapt because most people are focusing on how most newspapers are published. They are normally published after maybe 3 days or something or so.
Yeah.
So in this case, I guess they should adapt to the changes because if we're focusing on the new generation, the new generation is mostly based on the internet. They're always on their cell phones. They're always on the internet.
So basically, you want to say that newspaper is actually left behind in terms of transformations.
It's not really left behind because you still have people who will go to buy newspapers weekly.
Okay.
But you'll find out that even though they are going to buy the newspaper, some of the news they've heard them from somewhere else. So with the newspaper adapting to the change, they'll be able to publish everything in an effective period of time. Like they'll be able to say now we are publishing at the same time with the online news are publishing, so that everyone will have access to the news at the same time.
Okay. But then remember, we can't really say newspaper is left behind in terms of changes because we have people that prefer newspapers more than online media, because obviously now we can't trust anything that's on media. Because now people can write fake stuff. So I really think in terms of the changes, we can't really say it is left behind, but rather we can really say it still exists because now it goes with preference. So
in this case of looking at what people prefer, we can say it is fine, but as I said, they should try to adapt to a more efficient way of publishing at least daily for that matter, so that people will be able to access. It will create a more inclusive community. Like the media field will be inclusive because it will include those people who prefer reading a newspaper. We still have people who prefer to listen to news. We have people who prefer to watch news on television. And the chances definitely prefer the internet. So they are always on their phones. So I guess with the future of them working together to create a more significant future that now everyone is being catered for. Black South Africans, white South Africans, colored South Africans, with people from diverse cultural backgrounds. So what is your take from the future of media in South Africa?
Okay, so Leander, like you said that you think working together is a good thing. But then now, thing is, in terms of they can work together, not that I'm disputing whatever that you're saying, but the problem is the challenges that comes with working together. Obviously, we're going to have the challenges of new media and traditional media working together will bring back the authoritarian media. And that changes the whole perspective of new media because now they won't be able to cater for a specific audience that they started the channel for. Because now obviously if they collaborate together, now they will be forced to focus on one thing, which is something that they did not cater for at first. So I truly not that I'm disputing that, but then I feel like them working together, as much as it has its own benefit, but then it will not really work. So in terms of the challenges, like I said, they cater for a specific audience. So now things will clash because now they're focusing on one thing, which is now more of we are going back to a controlled state.
because we are all chasing the same.
Exactly, we're chasing the same thing, we're
Yeah.
focusing on the same thing, so we can hear different voices, man.
Yeah, well, from what you just said, I guess the take from this week, like different media publications, they have to have different ways of publishing their specific content. For instance, when we're looking at News24, News24 should have a YouTube channel, News24 should have a newspaper, News24 should have a radio station, News24 should have the internet-based social media.
So basically, they should just focus on
they should be
the collaborating thing.
Yeah, they should be multimedia.
So now it's up to you viewers. So we're gonna leave you with this question: what's the future of media? Do you guys think that traditional media and new media should collaborate? So I don't know.
This comes to the end of today's episode. We've been talking a lot and sharing a lot of information. So from me to my audience, I guess we should all try to be skilled with the fact-checking skills. We should all be aware of the history of South Africa. We should all know how to balance between traditional and new media. That's for the organizations that are for the media field. So that's close to the end of today's episode. You can share insights what you want.
And remember, guys, don't take everything that you see on media because not everything is true. Yeah. So by that, thanks for listening to Media27.
Thank you.
Please subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe and like. Drop your comment on what's your take on the future of journalism working in collaboration with traditional media. Thank you.